Hello everyone, it's me again, Hildah Anyango, and welcome to another episode where we discuss all things related to mental health. And today we have a very important guest with us today. Kindly introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, my name is George Watetu, and it's wonderful to be here. Such a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much for joining us. You are here with us today to discuss issues on mental health. As we know, mental health has been a very common issue among students, especially students at the university level. They're struggling with a lot of mental health issues, and we find that most of them don't even know what to do. They lack the information that they require to know how to navigate all the issues and the struggles of life that they face. So something that is important to mention is that you have a YouTube channel where you discuss mental health. Kindly tell us about that.
So I did get to start my YouTube channel like 1 year ago, and I did call it Mind Matters. So basically, what inspired me to come up with that channel is exactly what you said. I discovered that some of my friends were going through certain kind of difficulties, challenges that are related to mental health. And I discovered that even though I do not have like a physical institution where these issues can be handled, I thought of just creating a channel where I could always discuss issues related to student life and the possible challenges that they are going through. At the end of the conversations, I would always try to give 2 or 3 things that they can do to be able to cope up or to overcome the challenges that they go through. And I think one of my most famous, the most watched Mind Matters episode was on friendship. Basically, sometimes we assume that having friends around it's something that is just ordinary and normal, but then you later appreciate that some of our friends and the reason why our minds are either stable or unstable, so the people surrounding you kind of play a critical role. So I discover most people responded to that episode saying, yeah, I remember this friend of mine who we used to share quite a lot, and then at some point in life they kind of walked out and they kind of left behind a pain or a mark that kind of was so negative. So it's always been people being hurt by people around them. So that is the nature of my content, just looking at the society, the students, and then now I can develop a content in relation to exactly that. I've done one in academics, I've done another one on drugs, I've done another one on campus hustle and all this. I mean, basically things that could be the reason why a student is unstable or they are afraid of something. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So what inspires you to create content for the young people?
I think what inspires me is because is basically every time someone interacts with something positive, that's a life you're transforming, that's a life you're changing. I'm a product of content. I was once following this specific individual who talks on issues of mental health. Basically, he kept talking about the triggers, things that triggers us to be in that state where our minds are not stable. And I discovered if I'm one person who benefited in such kind of a talk, what if I created a talk like that? So targeting 1 or 2 people. So for me, that was really my inspiration.
What are some of the topics you discuss on your channel? You've talked about friendship, you've mentioned drug and substance abuse, and we know that there's a number of various mental illnesses, and right now from the research, among them the leading is depression, and that is something that is affecting most of the students at the university. So what are some of the topics and the discussions you have on your channel?
I've talked about exam preparations. I know it sounds just like a cliche. This is something that students will always do just close to an exam. But we talked about the whole issue of kuokoa semester. So it's a Swahili word, but basically it's to try to to do the last minute a bit of studying in the hope that you will grasp all information within a day and then you will do your exam well. So basically I created that content because I discovered most students become depressed whenever they believe that process would work for them, and then in the maybe a day to exams they discover their mind can't take in as much as they thought. So most of them end up being depressed, a good number of them end up dropping out, and you know very well that if you fail in an exam that you didn't prepare well, that also becomes another trauma or something that could lead you to depression. So I've talked about issues of relationship, what do you expect when you get into a relationship with someone? Should it be something that determines whether you're happy or not? And we've seen students killing themselves. We've seen students being unstable in their mind because of relationships. So basically, those are the angles of the topics we kind of create to ensure that at least they are handling such as a topic like depression that you just mentioned.
You've mentioned that you are also a product of content, having watched someone who talked about issues of mental health, and that has helped you in your life. From your content, what do you hope to achieve, or what are your objectives at the end of the day?
My objectives basically are always that somebody will interact with this content, someone who is going through some anxiety in a situation where they can't know exactly what to do. I always pray that basically if they get to watch this content, because in the very end I always give a biblical response because I'm a born again Christian. So just hoping that somebody will find hope in this desperate time. That even though things might look a little bit challenging, in the very end of my content, all of them, I will always try to direct us to our Maker, some supernatural power where we get to find confidence and hope in. So my objectives is always to help someone to stabilize, to find useful content. You know, out there are so many contents that are being thrown left, right, center. So when you produce something that is meaningful, I mean that becomes something that is encouraging.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what more do you think can be done? Because we know that in as much as there's the channels and there's so much resource out here that is available for those struggling with mental health issues, you find that there's still those who they either don't know or they are even afraid to speak up. So what more do you think can happen?
I think for our institutions, basically what we can keep doing is introducing more programs like this in schools, where now the guidance and counseling can be more deliberate on ensuring that they just not only wait for students to come for them, but they can also do as much as going to the students to just find out how they're doing. Create programs, open forums where students can just come and share basically how they are feeling, how the life in campuses is. You don't have to wait for 3 students to kill themselves for you to start handling the issue of pressure. I mean, let that committee or that department be out there to just check up on how students are doing. So I think for me, beyond the channel, institutions can go ahead and just do that physical approaches.
And finally, for those of us who are watching for the first time and maybe you are not familiar with our guest today, so I'd like you to tell them where they can find your channel, the name of your channel, or even your social media handles.
For those that are joining, my name is Watetu. So if you are to try find me in my YouTube, it's George Watetu, and basically it's Mind Matters. That's that's what I dub my YouTube channel to be. I think that is the most platform that I'm so active in. Facebook, George Watetu. On other platforms, George Watetu. So that's been me. It's been real. And keep taking care of your mind. What you allow in is very important. Oh yes.
Thank you very much for joining us
You're
today,
welcome.
and we appreciate the good work you do with your channel. That's all for today's episode. Kindly join us in our next episode as we discuss all things related to mental health. Until next time, I'm your host, Hildah Anyango.